Hello, everybody. We're live, and tonight we're going to be talking about deck FOMO, fear of missing out. Do you guys camp out on Kickstarter and look at all the new tarot decks that are coming out and what you want to back, what you want to spend your money on? Maybe get those extra things, maybe a bag, a coin, tarot deck, um, printed book. Um, Maybe upgraded paper stock, whatever it is for your the deck that you like. Each deck is an artistic style and sense, and we all have an aesthetic that we like. Some people like um, hey Mosaic, how you doing? We all like different artwork. Um, I personally like watercolors and pastels. Um, Other people like black and white. Some people like glitzy decks with gold foiling and gilded edges. Um, and paper stock is something that a lot of people look at in their decks. Hello, Hershey. Thank you for the blessings. I personally like a linen stock. I like smaller decks because of my hand dexterity. I know some people who like the standard size tarot. It just depends on the size of your hands and how agile you are. And shuffling cards. Some people do hand over hand. Some people do a riffle and bridge. And hello, Alden, or is it Aiden? It's Alden. Um, yeah, some people like to do bridge shuffle. Some card stocks lend themselves to bending, and um, that's not always a bad thing. Just remember to bend them back and or turn them over and shuffle them the other way. Oh, thank you, Tawny. Tanner. I see. I'm looking out of the top of my glasses, no, not the bottom, and I'm just a little too far away to see with my bifocals on the bottom. Hello, Sky Dancer. How are you doing? So we're talking about tarot deck FOMO. Now, do you need more than one tarot deck? No, you can do tarot with one basic deck. And, and you know, the Sorry about that. My computer locked up and I had to reboot. But you really don't need any more than one tarot deck, and usually um, the deck that you start with is the deck that you continue to go back to again and again and again. Um, so you absolutely don't need more tarot decks, but the argument for accumulating tarot decks is that each deck is a separate set of artwork. Um, Now I tend to go towards Rider Waite Smith tarot clone decks because that's the kind of decks that I learned on in the beginning. And um, if I have images that are from a collage deck or something that's too dissimilar, um, I, I tend to have to picture the Rider Waite Smith image, and then it's a little easier for me to interpret the cards. I've been reading cards since 1996, all book learned. And the first time that I read tarot for a live person was for a holiday bazaar, a fall bazaar for a charity called the Daughters of the British Empire. And they had me read tarot cards from 10 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night in 15-minute sessions. And that made for 28 sessions for the day. And there was always a line waiting for their number to be called. So it was baptism by fire. And I really learned a lot doing it that way. I was doing Celtic cross readings, 10 cards, and using reversals in my readings, and people seem to enjoy the information that was given. I didn't have anybody cry that first year that I did it, but I did the charity for about 12 years running, and really had fun doing it and learned a lot. It was not an environment that was conducive to reading because there were a drum and piper corps that would come through every hour or so. There was a lot of people shopping at booths, and the noise level got very loud. And I'm not used to talking for 7 hours straight. And by the end of the day, my voice was shot. But it was a fun time, and it was fun enough to go back and do it again 11 more years. And the bargain price for the 15-minute reading was $7. So there was also another lady reading tarot cards, and after about 3 or 4 years, I noticed that she had a following of certain ladies that would come back year after year, and then I got my people that came back year after year. So it was fun to see them and read for them again and see what had gone on, in that intervening year, whether they grew or had a challenge or, um, you know, got a new job, bought a new house. There were a lot of life milestones celebrated in those tarot readings. So, do you shop Etsy for your tarot decks, or do you and look at random tarot decks and see what's um I'm gonna freeze again. Okay, it looks like I'm back. Um so how do you like to get your decks? Do you like to go to the local esoteric shop and um see the decks in person, some through the guidebooks? before you buy a deck? Do you watch deck reviews on the YouTubes? Um, what is it that? How do you like to acquire your decks? I'm very interested. I'd like to get a set of tarot tiles. That would be fun. Or I've been investigating getting some like molds to make tiles and then gluing on either stickers, or I've got this little deck called the Tiny Tarot, and maybe cast a resin base, adhere the card to it, and then give it a resin coating, UV coating, so the card doesn't get damaged by shuffling the tiles on the table. It would be a little hard, putting little tiles up to the camera, so people could see what was going on. But I think tiles would be fun. Just maybe put them in a cloth bag and draw them out blindly. Be just as effective as shuffling a deck. So I am doing readings. If you want a reading, you have to be subscribed to comment and ask for a reading. But just give me your question, or you could request a general reading, or um, message from my guides, or um, relationship, or career, or money, or health. We don't really go into. You need to seek professional help for any health needs, and this is for entertainment purposes only. If you do need some mental health encouragement, I do uh, advise you to go seek a clinical counselor that's licensed to do that work. Um, we're here for a quick hit of dopamine, and sorry about that. Just keep getting knocked off. I don't know what's going on. I don't have anything too stressing on the Wi-Fi tonight, but there we go. If you do want a reading, just type your question in the comments, and I'll be glad to pull 3 cards from a mini reading for you. How is everybody's first full day of spring? It's the weekend. Did you go out and do yard work? Do you live in a portion of the United States where you had to go shovel snow? Um, Hopefully, you're not being affected by the flooding in Hawaii. Many people are, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. Houston is experiencing another gorgeous day, and Ron just came in from outside and went to bed. I know he's going to be calling for me in a bit. But if you got any questions, or if you want me to read on any news stories, I can do that as well. I've been very fortunate that I've had people gift me tarot decks, and I would say that I am a deck collector because I can see between tarot, oracle, and Lenormand cards that I've got just nearly 100 decks. Um, there's a difference between a collector and a curator. A curator um, has decks that have historical or artistic significance in their collection. Um, I am grateful for every deck that has been gifted to me, and the decks that I buy tend to be on the pricier side because there is that art aesthetic that I do like, and I gravitate towards those decks. What I usually do is shadow work on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time, and I read with a co-creator, and I read the conscious side, and she reads the subconscious side because she is a root worker. So between the two of us, we can tell you what's going on in your active thoughts and what's really the concern percolating beneath what your conscious says. So we get to the heart of the matter fairly quickly. And like I said, it's not a substitute for mental health counseling. Um, if you need that, um, by all means, ask us, but we're not professionals. You just get your dopamine hit here and then go seek your professional help and get your childhood traumas addressed. So if anybody would like a reading, go ahead and put it in the comments. Tonight I am using tarot for all ages. It says, Embark on the Great Tarot Adventure. And it's by Elizabeth Heidel. Tarot for all ages, guidance to help you grow on your journey. It's got a nice little guidebook. Kind of pastel pictures of the cards. The cards are a little more vibrant than the pictures here in the book. But it's got something for all 78 cards. Goes through the suits, and you get a spread or two. Nope, it's just the cards themselves. So the book was written and illustrated by Elizabeth Heidel. Elizabeth Heidel lives in Oregon, USA, and specializes in nonfiction comics. She is an art and editorial director of Illustoria magazine. Her illustrations have appeared in I, Parrot, The Girl Who Named Pluto, and the science fiction graphics novel The Pipers. She's also written and illustrated a series of comic books about famous authors and illustrators, looking at the connection between early childhood experiences and ideas. Hi, Anna. How are you tonight? I don't know if you had to go to bed last night or um, my Wi-Fi was kicking me in and out, so it was a little unstable last night. Oh, I'm so sorry, Anna. So, are you in charge of services, or you and your siblings? I can imagine. You know, grief can affect our health. That's for sure. So make sure you hydrate and eat plenty of chicken soup, hot liquids and beverages. Oh, you have a brilliant brain, Anna. I was using the true crime deck that you and another person gifted. I kept one of the decks. I'm passing the other one on to Hershey. It's not gone out in the mail yet, but she reads true crime once a week. Thank you for subscribing, Marwam Warmat Marwam Era. Warmamera. Thank you for doing so. Work reading, certainly. Now, work readings sometimes can be just like relationship readings. We have people and interactions that we have to deal with at work. But usually, when people ask about work, they want to know if they're secure in their job or if they should think about switching careers or positions. Let's see what we got. Marwa. Okay. Marwa Mira. Okay. Now I got it. So we have the justice card to begin with. So that's all about balance. Are you having some work home life um, issues? Maybe you weren't balanced in your work and home life and um, taking care of the physical self. Oh, you're Libra, so that yeah. So the scales of justice is your card. Um, it's yeah, it's that balance of, are you being paid fair wages for the amount that you work? Um, some some of us usually were underpaid in the positions that we did. Um, your next card is the Steward of Swords. So um, you're a student. You're embarking on this new adventure. You may need to level up your skills and your education. Um, to do the role in this new position. And I'm assuming that you already have a position, and that's always the best place to be when you're looking for another job, is having a job, because for some reason they don't like gaps on a resume. And who's not going to have gaps on the resume because of COVID in the last few years? Some people have to take time off to be a caregiver for aging parents or sick or disabled kids. So, you know, in that case, it's totally understandable. Okay. Well, college is always good to have on a resume. And I think you're going to be successful because you have the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups are about celebrations and collaborations. So it looks like you're going to have a cooperative group of people at whatever job you get. If you don't get this one, there's always another one. And, you know, sometimes you have to, well, that's a negotiation, Marwa, that you have to go in to your job interview, and they may ask you a question like, "Well, um, what were you looking for in a position of salary?" Or, "What do you want to make hourly?" Um, and be honest and frank with them. And if you've got your bachelor's, if you've got your master's, if you've got your grad school, make sure that um, you figure that in, because the amount of money that you probably had to borrow to get your education, um, uh, to get your education, you're probably going to have student loans and things to pay off. So make sure that salary is commensurate to the cost of education. And if you've got a way of researching the job, see what similar people or people in that same position at that company, what they make. And then, if it's got a general job title, make sure that you know what the salary is expected in your area. Some some areas the cost of living is higher in. Some areas like Houston is not a. I wouldn't say that you're priced out of housing. It's kind of on the affordable end of those types of things here, unless you get your suburban subdivisions and you have a 2-acre lot and a pool in the yard, and then you're talking substantial money for a house and property. Okay, thank you, Marwa. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that so much. um, I've been on a sabbatical for a while. Last May I had some health challenges, and I sort of let my channel um, uh, have a slow attrition. I just did videos often enough so they wouldn't kick me off YouTube. So you have to post at least a video a month, or a few shorts every month. You're so welcome. Thank you for asking for a reading. It is a matter of trust. And be sure to come back and let me know how you did, or uh, if you need to keep on the job hunt because you didn't think things were going to work out. You need a break. You need a break. Break me off one of those Kit Kat bars. I was I was looking for something sweet earlier, and I noticed that, like, I ate the last of my fresh fruit, and the only other things that I have are not what a diabetic should have. So I just had a piece of cheese, and still have that hankering for that sweet tooth. Yeah, I could have toasted some toast and had buttered toast with peanut butter or jam on it. but I'm not supposed to spike my blood sugar too much because I am on insulin. I take metformin, Jardiance, Lispro, or Humalog, which is a fast acting injectable insulin, and then I take Lantus, which is a slow acting insulin. So 6 pills a day and 4 shots, one of the slow acting insulin and then 3 of the fast acting insulin. Yeah, if your mother had it, things may run in the family. Hopefully, you keep an active metabolic system going so you don't develop problems like that. Go out and walk, move around. I do my sit and be fits, and I do my leg stretches. You can I understand that, Anna. I've been been treated for bipolar depression, but I am taking Lexapro and counseling. So I'm not on a every week or every 2 week counseling session. It's like every 6 weeks, sort of like a maintenance type of thing. Yeah, Anna. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. And it's so between the diagnosis and the passing, was it quick or was it drawn out? Most of us know when we're ill, and there's a point to um, if you've made peace with your life, your creator. Yeah, and to from moving from the role of a child to being a caregiver, um, for the person that you're caregiving, um, it seems embarrassing, but then you go back and think, how many hundreds of diapers did they have to change to raise you? So your psychiatrist every 3 months. So I'm going every 6 weeks, which is twice in 3 months. Well, are you secure um in your living situation? I mean, do you have caregivers that come and go and help you? Yeah, when I was recovering, I had um somebody that came. So sis has got a lot on her plate, taking care of arrangements and keeping you going as well. Yeah, when so I had physical therapists come in every week, and then I had dressing changes to um, the nurse would come 3 times a week, and then like every month the head physical therapist would come out and do an evaluation to see if I was progressing along. Um, so I would suggest that she needs a little extra care as well. You know, if there's a way that you can send her to a spa or um, have a masseuse come in and give her a deep tissue massage and work those kinks and all that stress out of the body. Um, it helps. I get a physio massage um, once a month. I should be doing it every. Oh, good. I'm glad. Because caregivers have it rough. No, I don't read your mind. I empathize and have been in similar situations in my life. So I know what I appreciate after stressful times. Oh, they certainly are. And we were to a point where he got my legs and feet to a point where I was feeling sensation again when they do the brush test. Um, they take like a broom bristle and poke you under your toes to see if you feel any sensation. I have neuropathy that's really, really bad, so I don't have a lot of sensation from the knees down. So I walk with a rollator. I am prone to falling because after my car accident, I developed vertigo. So the last half year that I was working, I would just lose my balance and fall over. And so I started walking with a cane. And then when I got too wobbly on a cane, my foot doctor suggested that I use a rollator. So um, it's what I have to work with. I mean, the outcome certainly could have been worse and final, being hit by a car, but um, I was fortunate. Yes, I did get banged up. I did break a couple ribs, broke a collarbone, um, translated my hand. They wanted to pin my hand together so all I'd be able to do is grasp. I wouldn't have flexors or tensors or anything like that. Um, but eventually, I lost muscle tone. You can see the pits of my hand. Um, and in about 6 months after when I got hit by the car, I couldn't perform the duties of my job anymore because I couldn't lift 50 pounds on a regular basis. So I had to take medical leave and then be medically disabled. Yeah, I was fortunate. It was about a 2-hour stint in the emergency room with a couple series of X-rays, um, and then they sent me to the pharmacies for some pain pills, and it does. But like I said, I'm grateful that I survived with at least mental faculties intact. I'm doing jigsaw puzzles right now to help um, hand therapy. You could see where where this hand is curling up like I've had a stroke. I'm double jointed, so that's why the fingers go back. And my coworkers used to think that was so weird that my hands, both of them, you know, I think I can. It's my one medical oddity. I gotta. Oh yeah, I haven't been able to bowl for a long time. I developed hemorrhoids and arthritis. I bowl right-handed, but most everything was left-handed, and the left hand is the one that. Excuse me. I write and eat with my left hand. I didn't after my accident and debilitation that it caused. I haven't learned how to write with my right hand, so it's pretty much printing now. Well, really, Anna, we human bodies. If you were born in 1840, you had a 50% chance of surviving till 30. So medical advances are keeping us alive longer, and our genetic heritage hasn't caught up to that yet to make us live longer. So yeah, the body is an incredible machine. Um, the way it was explained to me when I got diabetes, you know, the doctor says now that you've got diabetes, you're going to be on all this medication. All this medication causes side effects, and you know, now my job is to treat the diabetes and try to keep you comfortable. Um, because the longer you live, the more chance that you'll have a mutation of cells somewhere that might turn cancerous. Um, you know, you're going to get age spots. You're going to lose or gain weight depending on your metabolism. I've got cataracts developing, um, and again, that's part of aging. Our eye health, you know, our the bodies weren't meant to go to, you know, past 60 and not have complications. So, um, you know, I'm in bonus years now. So, um, and uh, I've done and been privileged to have traveled in my life and have a fairly exciting career in my 20s and 30s. Yeah, if I was a female, I was going to be named after both the grandmothers. I would have been Laura Lorena. And, but I was named after an uncle of my mother's. And then after my dad passed, she let it slip one day that she named me after a high school boyfriend. Yeah, I didn't travel as much as I would like to travel, but it it is what it is. I travel now by YouTube. I watch people go to Machu Picchu. go down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, whitewater raft, those types of things that would be a little prohibitive for a physically challenged person. In my younger days, I used to bicycle a lot, and I grew up in Iowa, and there's a lot of farm to market roads that have paved um, shoulders, so it was good for bicycling. And every year, the Des Moines Register would have a bike ride across Iowa. So they had a ride called Ragbri. It's the Register's annual Great Bike Ride across Iowa. So they start on a Sunday on the Missouri River side of the state, and then they end um, on the following Saturday on the Mississippi River side of the state. So part of the tradition is you dip your back tire into the Missouri River right across the state for the week, and then dip your front tire in the Mississippi River so you can say you've been clear across Iowa. So, and they usually do it. This is the third week of July, which is not always the coolest part of the year. But I did that for the 12th and 13th annual runs of that ride. And then there was another ride that I did called Toger, and it basically went up the Mississippi River and then went internal to the state and came back down to the starting point. It was a loop. And each night you stayed at a college campus. You'd either tent camp or you would you had a dorm where you slept. And but that was nice. They had warm showers for everyone, and breakfast and dinner was provided in part of the cost of the package for the week. So yeah, I was a big boy then. I would say that I was 260 pounds when I did the first year, and then I was down to about 160 pounds the following years that I did those rides. Yeah, we would take our vacations and go up to Decorah, Iowa, which is in the northeast corner, up by Wisconsin and Minnesota, and go trout fishing, or we would canoe down the upper Iowa River. It's been many years since we did that. So when my mom married my dad, she would say, "Oh, Sioux City, yeah, we started there one year for one of those register bike rides." So when my mom married my dad, she used to tell her friends, "Yeah, Jim told me he'd take me to coast to coast. I didn't know it was going to be the coast of the Cedar River to the coast of the Iowa River." So my big trips in traveling were a year and a half in Sydney, Australia. I would stay there for 90 days and come back for 2 weeks and go back for 90 days. Did that 6 times. And then I went and worked in South Africa for 14 weeks. So that was fun. That was very educational. It was in 1994 when I went to South Africa. De Klerk was still president, and they were getting ready for Mandela to be elected, and people were The people that had money were like hoarding gold and things like that, and trying to plan their escape from the country in case everything changed radically. And Mandela did not change things very radically. It was, um, they were in the 90s. They were going through their civil civil rights movements there. Stayed in Johannesburg. Yeah, an ex of mine lives in Spokane, Washington. Uh, Stayed in Johannesburg, which was called the Jacaranda City, and jacarandas are this tree that have purple flowers, but if you park your car underneath them, uh, uh, your car gets covered with these flowers and gets stained by them. But it is beautiful to look over the hills and see in the springtime just everything covered with lavender flowers. And my flights were in and out of Johannesburg to Cape Town, so I got to see Table Mountain, which is beautiful. It's like a big flat mesa mountain uh, near Cape Town. So, are you having any seismic movement there? We're we're under sort of seismic watch because of geomagnetic storms that have hit the planet in the last couple days. We've had a couple coronal mass ejections that were Earth directed, and we had a G4 um, electromagnetic storm. Um, Lots of flooding. Water is bad. I had to move from an apartment because of flooding. Not natural flooding, but the neighbor flooding us out, and then the landlord didn't do anything, and uh, the apartment developed black mold, so we had to get out just for health reasons. It was worse than smoking, breathing in all that musty air. Oh, Grandpa built the house, so back then they built things to last a little stronger. So that would have been early 50s. So was he a World War II vet? My pop served during the Korean War, and uh, he didn't see any action, but he was stationed in England for a time and bought a motorcycle and drove himself up to Scotland and took pictures, and that was our entertainment. He had a carousel slide projector, and anybody come over, he'd get the slide projector out. So, Anna, do you have? Oh, that was the same age my dad was when he passed. So he had a skill and climbing abilities. a carpenter, followed in the ways of Jesus. Yeah, I'm so on heights. I don't get myself in situations where I'm ever in danger when I'm high up. When I was in Sydney, I did want to do the bridge climb, the over the Harbor Bridge of Sydney. They've got two stone towers that hold up the girders of the truss bridge, and you have a metal wire that you clip yourself onto a safety clip and run the catwalk up to the top where they have the flags. And in San Diego, they have the Coronado Bridge climb where the catwalks are under the bridge. Yeah, I don't think I'll get to Machu Picchu with my rollator. It's just a little too rugged. Uh, I suppose I could manage it with two walking sticks, but the climbing up wouldn't be as bad as the climbing down, because of the balance issues. Well, I lived in San Diego for about 7 years, from 86 to 92. And I got here in Texas in October of 92. Yeah, and us people over 60 have to watch for, be cognizant of falling. If you break a hip, heaven forbid. I've seen a lot of people. Uh, is it somebody from Saudi Arabia? Is that dated a squid? Uh, you mean a very handsy? Oh, I was I was thinking of a very handsy person. A squid. I don't think I've heard that term for a Navy person. Is that is that a diver? Specializes in diving, and I guess that would be mine shipping mine patrol. Yeah, my dad was Air Force, and I'm I'm going with the story of he may have been CIA or FBI, because uh, he was in the states. He was stationed at Arlington, and every year we got a visit by the G-men, because he was a hobby gunsmither. Used to repair guns and rifles for the local sporting goods store in our little town. So, because he had a oh, Anna, there's no reason to station anybody at Fort Knox anymore uh, after Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. I think all the gold disappeared. That's my conspiracy theory for the day. I think all the I think America has no gold, and we switched to fiat currency, and uh, our money is is like a faith healer church. It's not going to be worth anything soon anyway. Yeah, I know that there's supposed to be an audit every couple of years, but there's never any proof or any pictures that come out of any audit. I think the oligarchs and politicians line their bank vaults well, and then the money that's made on insider trading in both the House and the Senate. So, do you have any political questions that you'd like me to read on? Oh, yeah, the the House and Senators. Definitely, they have a what do they call it? Concierge medical package. Well, if you ever need a tarot reading or any of your friends do, I do private readings. I don't ask for a set amount of money. We go for at least a half hour, and I do a general life reading with the Celtic cross spread, and answer any yes no questions, answer specific questions. You know, I let them tell me what to do. I only ask that they at least put $5 on a gift card at Amazon or buy me something off my wish list. But if they don't have money, that is fine too. It's- we can work on a barter system, or you pay the value of what you think you got forward to somebody, or a charity of your liking. Maybe somebody likes animals and they give it to the local ASPCA, or you know buy dog food, cat food for a local shelter, would it, or support their church. Oh, you've already found me something. I appreciate the crime rate deck and the cards that I got for the missing general. um, I got two fairly disturbing cards for him: dismemberment and uh, landfill. So I hope that is not what the end result is. Yeah, I pulled 10 cards, but those were the most disturbing. The rest of them seemed to deal with like things he would have had on him personally, or where he might have went. Well, he won't be a Matt Dump then. But Hershey can't get a read on her team can't get a read on a life force. So either he's sheltering in a bunker somewhere, or he was taken to a government base somewhere just for his own protection, or um, they're keeping him from some other group gaining knowledge from him. Yeah, for an Indian tower in the Northwest, is that like a totem tower, or is it just a cairn of rocks that they would have climbed up on? You sharpening your claws, Ronnie? I've got the door open. He's a wooden tower. Okay. So were the tribes there? Were they like ocean based, or were they land and river and hunted and uh, stocked salmon? What kind of trinkets did you find, like shell beads? I got you. I can read typos, Anna. I know what I misspell all the time. Glass beads and coins. Ooh, glass beads. Now, do you think they were they must have been trading with the locals to get the coins, but or was it the wampum shell money? Pottery pieces. Okay. Clay, like poker chips made of clay, earth and clay, and fired. That's pretty neat. My brother found an arrowhead when he was hunting in Iowa. Oh, I've seen shark's teeth. I haven't found any, but when you go to beachside resorts, they usually have a basket full of polished shark's teeth in there that you can, or puka shells with a little shark tooth coming out of it. That's cool. That is cool. Now I know the coastal cities up in Washington have a lot of basalt and lava and obsidian stones because of the volcanoes. Um, if it cools rapidly in a silica area, it can produce obsidians, volcanic glass. So in England, I think they call that mudlarking, where they go um, on the banks of the Thames River and look for old medication bottles and metal pieces and things like that. In southeastern Iowa, in an area called Keokuk, there are geodes that are there, and they're like the round rocks that they break open, and then they have crystals inside, either white or yellow. Oh, let's see. The Michigan State Stone is called Petoskey Rock, which is an ancient coral, and I've seen some beautifully polished Petoskey rocks from the banks of Michigan. Yeah, the tiny circles. Yeah, the coral. We had a lot of limestone in our area in Iowa, and they'd have things that were round and looked like puka shells embedded in the rock, and they called them crinoid stems. I guess it was a plant. My brother and sister-in-law went to Mackinac Island for their honeymoon. Ooh, somebody's getting the riot act read to them. There's an argument in Spanish going on outside. Must not be too bad because the cat hasn't come in yet, so it hasn't escalated that far. So when I lived in Iowa, uh, my family were outdoorsmen, so we hunted and fished. We would go out in the spring and collect wild mushrooms, morel mushrooms, and wild asparagus. And my dad had a big garden, so there was always canning of green beans and tomatoes and peas. He'd make strawberry jam. We had a grape trellis, so he made Concord grape jam. One year he made marmalade that was, I don't like orange rinds. Yeah, that was, yeah, if we were on the poor side of things, and um, most of our protein was from things that were hunted in season and harvested ethically, and um, yeah, the big garden sustained us. He too vigorous a pruning, was it? Yeah, he planted cherry trees. He had two cherry trees, an apple tree, a peach tree that only only had one peach on it in its life cycle. He planted also flowers. He raised dahlias and gladiolas. Starfish Galaxy. I don't know where that's located, Sean. I love the smell of citrus blossoms. When I lived in San Diego, I lived on an acre that had two of every kind of fruit tree that you can imagine. And I didn't know till I lived in San Diego that apricots were not dried peaches. They're they're their own fruit. I did, you know, I thought, if prune plums turned into prunes, that I figured that peaches turned into apricots, but that wasn't the case. Grapes turned to raisins. There's there's a lot of myths that I had always thought of that became not true when I was schooled. You know, we all live in the world that our mind exists in. What you perceive one way, I may perceive another way, and I guess that's the human dilemma, and that's why a lot of people think they're alone. Well, if you sing back, they should be able to hear you singing too. Yeah, I thought TVs were two ways. Now they are with our smart devices. Our TVs can spy on us now. And just the other day, I was uh, Hershey wanted to try out a program called Restream to do these broadcasts with or through, and we've been using a product called StreamYard. We just know how that works. Uh, we know how to work it and navigate the menus of the StreamYard, and it didn't quite work the same way with Restream. There were too many restrictions in the free version. But technology is amazing. Early in the stream, I get kicked out a couple times and had to reboot the computer and come back. I don't think we got a TV till I was like 8 years old. And then it was my job to be the remote for my father. His attention span was about 5 minutes on any one show, and that was about the time the westerns were just going off the air. I think the last one that was on was Gunsmoke, um, and so I'd have to go back and forth between Gunsmoke and the other two stations that we could get at the time. It was very hard to follow any storyline because I'd have to get up and change the TV channel every 5 minutes or so. Yeah, I fell into that trap um, in my later working career of working and drinking and avoiding home. Someday I'm gonna do a craft project and make my own YouTube play button to put on the wall. It's gonna be made out of cardboard and tinfoil because on this specialized niche of tarot reading, you're never gonna get 100,000 subscribers. But I'm comfortable with my 430 subscribers. I, Fortunately, when I took my nearly year off, that my subscribers didn't abandon me. Now I do YouTube research for the tarot and jigsaw puzzles. Um, I try to keep my piece counts low, 300 to 500 piece puzzles. Every once in a while, I do 1,000 piece. So right now, I've got two puzzles that I want to save and put tape on the back so they stay together. Oh, thank you. I try to be. I wasn't always this kind. I had I finally grew up. Let's put it that way. They have a Mod Podge mat as well. Um, yeah, temporarily I'm gonna put painter's tape on the backs of them, um, and then I'll squeegee some Mod Podge on them later when I get like a backing board or something. And I've got um, a Star Wars puzzle that's lenticular. So if you go one way, you get Darth Vader. If you go the other way, then it flashes to Stormtrooper. And then the other is an image of um, Tree of Life. And that was 1,000 piece puzzle. And I kind of got ripped off. I paid like $24 with shipping to get it sent to me, and it was a inferior Chinese product that was very thin and had a paper backing to it. It wasn't laminated on cardboard or um, what board fiberboard like regular puzzles are. Um, yeah, it's kind of neat. It's kind of got a orange rocky underside to it, and it's on a star field, but it's got glowing I guess, twinkle lights or something in it. It's a nice painting. But now I know. I go to the local Goodwill. I went to the downtown Goodwill, and they had two puzzles, and um, they were mainly kids' puzzles, like giant floor puzzles with 48 pieces. And it depends on the picture if I would have bought them or not. But my local Goodwill store has a lot of puzzles to it and a lot of 300 and 500 piece puzzles. So I pick those up. I go once a month when they have um, their department tag on sale. Um, each day of the week has its own color, and the puzzle department is green. So I go on the green day, which I think is Thursdays. I'm always looking for colorful Hawaiian shirts. Um, I buy them a size larger so I don't have to button and unbutton them. Um, Button them up once and then just slide them over my head. And then my shoes are permanently tied. Um, so I use them as slip-ons basically, and have a have an appointment to get my toes cut and my feet checked by my podiatrist next Wednesday. So he'll he'll be glad to see me. I paid the Tesla bill for about 6 months while I was trying to heal a diabetic ulcer on my ankle. I made him earn it though. He rented a special machine just to treat me. It was like a sonic mist that they wanded over the tissue that was affected for about 6 minutes. And I went there every week till we got it healed. So it was a process. And now I've got a sensor that is good for 15 days to check my sugars, and it's got a little electronic thing that gives a readout every 10 minutes, and it beeps if you're out of range. So I should if I should crack my skin open, I should heal a little faster because I'm monitoring my sugar levels a lot better. Uh, I I just hated poking my fingers because with that neuropathy, you lose sensation, but then when you when you injure yourself or poke yourself, the nerve endings go hyperspastic. So I really hate it when I accidentally bump my crazy bone because it's like 20 times worse than it was when I'd accidentally bump it in my earlier years. Yeah, from my last surgery, I had a diverticulitis that had an abscess in it. So they did the surgery to insert a drain, and um, I was 10 days in the hospital and then another 10 days before they could remove the drain. It's just that thing about getting older, and thank goodness medical technology is allowed us to keep going. I am missing a bone in my foot because it got infected the year before, and the the infection went into the bone. So it was a metatarsal bone. So my my fourth toe really isn't connected. The toe is still intact, but it would, if I could spread my toes, it would flop. But it sort of sits between and above the little toe and the middle toe. Yeah, I was thinking about calling my channel, renaming my channel to One Less Bone Tarot. Oh, I got a visitor. He's playing with the cat toy. Don't you steal it. The old cat stole it last time. It's got catnip in it, and it's a faux fur tube that's blue, and it crinkles, and it's got catnip in it. So all the neighborhood cats come in and play with it for a while. What are you trying to do? He's running in circles with it in his mouth. Oh, Ronnie's defending his territory. He gave him a 1-2 box. He says, "That's my toy. This is my house." Ronnie, you want to come up here? You came up last night for a little bit, for like all of 20 seconds. He says, "No, I'm camera shy tonight." Yeah, he was so happy when I came back from the hospital. I had friends come in and feed him and scoop the box while I was in the hospital. But um, after that, he wouldn't let me out of his sight for like a week. I mean, he was underfoot. Um, and now he sleeps with me. He didn't really bond with me. He bonded with Hershey last year. Uh, Ronnie was her cat, and all she'd have to do is get the brush out, and Ronnie'd come running, and then give her a love bite when he'd had enough brushing. She'd say, "Red cat behavior." Aw, yeah, they don't understand, do they? Yeah, this is the first red cat I've owned. I had a tuxedo that was three-legged. I had a long-haired calico. She was beautiful. Um, when I crocheted and knit, she would sit on my lap. Never played with the yarn at all. Just she knew when I sat down with the knit needles or the crochet, she knew I'd be there for a while. And so I wouldn't disturb her, for a while I was knitting or crocheting, and she loved it. And then when I was bigger, I used to sleep with a CPAP, and um, that cat slept on the pillow above my head and rested her head on my forehead so she could get um, the air vent blowing her fur, so she was comfortable. But then um, she knew that I wasn't the one to feed her, so when she got hungry in the morning, or she knew that my partner's alarm was about to go off, she'd go over and groom his sideburns. And so that would be his cue to get up and get some kibble, even though there was kibble in the bowl. She wanted to make sure that she had a little bit of fresh on top. And Ron sharpens his claws vertically on one of the fence posts on my patio. And the the last cat that I had, um, I would bring ends of boxes that we'd cut apart at work, and I'd pack them in another box, and that's what he liked to scratch his paws with. And Rhonda drinks a lot of water. Ronnie drinks a lot of water. I was calling it Rhonda for a while because apparently I didn't know how to sex a full-grown neutered male cat. Uh, and then when I took him for his rabies shot, the vet kindly notified me that this isn't a Rhonda, this is a Ron. So he says, "See this left ear that's clipped? Uh, that means he's been neutered." So apparently, whoever had him moved out of the apartments and just left him to fend for himself, because he's a good mouser. He brings me mice quite often. Yeah, and there's still some play value left in them, so he'll drop them in the house and play with them, and eventually take them outside. And that's so sad because animals need to be loved. They're our fur babies, our children. So the cigarettes that I smoke are natural tobacco, without any additives, so they extinguish themselves if I don't puff on them often enough. Yeah. Well, I know that you've got a kind and gentle heart then too, Anna. Um, we we did trap, spay, and release at a former apartment complex that we lived at because there were so many cats in the neighborhood. Don't you leave with that. That's Rhonda's toy. You can come play with it every once in a while, but don't leave with it. No, don't you? Okay. Gotta stop and scratch. So is there a worry now that the matriarch of the family is gone that everybody won't get together for holidays in the future? Or has Sis been taking care of that? I know my granny, made sure that we all got together several times a year. She lived about 4 hours away from us. Um, but I was fortunate her birthday is the day before mine. And so you're spread across the world or across the nation. My brother and sister-in-law are in the vacation town, Decorah, Iowa, and he trout fishes and she paints rocks, volunteers at the library, and um, um, she's she did volunteer work today at the Lutheran College to help people do their state tax returns. She said there's a lot of foreign population that don't understand how to fill out the tax forms there in Iowa. Little Mooey, we are. I'm doing 3 card tarot readings. If you got a personal question you want answered, um, personal to you, not personal to somebody else, or you can ask me um, to read on a question about politics or something in the news in your local area. If I'm not versed in it, I may have you give me a quick explanation. Last night I didn't read tarot cards for 5-year-olds, but I took um, 5 top headlines and explained them to 5-year-olds, and then why that news story affected how that could affect the 5-year-old. Oh, Muskies, they put up a good fight. I have a I have a picture when I was about 4 years old holding up a muskie, and I had to hold the stringer above my head because he was so long. I think he was maybe a 20-pound muskie. Yeah, there's a lot of scary things going on in the world that, I think little ones, I don't have children myself, but I think little ones should be clued in because they're going to hear things or they're going to see something accidentally on the news or, um, you know, hear people talk about it and be concerned. Um, so, so I'm all in favor of keeping children informed and letting them go to funerals and learn the things of life. Little Mooey, did you have to register or subscribe so you could comment, or is it just an open comment? Absolutely, the young need to be taught, and children are so much more, they're curious, they wanna know, and they don't wanna be overly sheltered. Um, yeah, I was quite protected when I was young, and so I was socially awkward and not, um in I guess I was socially awkward to my peers. Um, I could hold my own in an adult setting, but my brother and I are 6.5 years apart, so it's sort of like we were raised as two only children. They didn't trust him to look after me, so he was never tasked with babysitting or anything like that. So he had his group of friends, and I had my group of friends, and only Sundays when we all went to church together were we together for any length of time. Oh, that's cool. You had a playmate at least, and friends your own age in the area. And when we were kids, during the summer, we had to leave the house by 9 o'clock in the morning and don't come back till the street lights come on. Um, Call if you're having lunch or dinner with somebody, and let me know so I won't start a can of soup or whatever was for lunch. Well, Anna, I didn't have a car till I went to college, so my bicycle was my main transportation. So that's why I did those bicycle rides. Oh, well, if we weren't in the yard by the time the street lights came on, we got a hiding or a whooping. And my dad used to play shoulder check with my brother. One shot, one shot. So my brother would get the first shot, and then dad would get the second shot. Well, when my brother got to be 11 or 12, he was nearly 6 foot, and he gave Pop a shoulder check that sent him into the door and onto the floor. And that game ended rather quickly. Yeah, I had other friends that had vehicles. Our favorite one was a Rambler sedan, and the floors were rusting out of it. So driving down the road, you could see the asphalt. You had to be careful where you placed your feet and not put any weight on the floor. You'd have to slide in. So yeah, he was a main transportation, and we'd all chip in for gas, and um, they weren't so they weren't so heavy handed on cruisers. Oh, you had a Camaro, sporty. Yeah, my neighbor and his dad, they fixed up a Chevy Chevelle for him. What color was your Camaro? Did he take your toy, Rhonda? Aw, poor boy. Oh no. Black, okay. Not the colors they have down here in Texas. My friend had a Camaro. I would say it was a work buddy. He had a Camaro that was school bus yellow. Oh no. So you've been through it too. Yeah, I only put one car in the ditch during the winter. On a curve, thank goodness it was snowing and I was going slow, but it did mess up the car, so it wasn't drivable anymore. Well, it's nearly one, Anna. Are we ready for bedtime? I am smoking clove cigar. It doesn't have any additives to it, so I have to keep lighting it up. I guess they don't add the ammonia and formaldehyde to keep them burning. And some of them have pieces of clove in it, so sometimes uh, sometimes they pop and burn holes in my clothes. Did you smoke beanies? Did you have a question that you wanted me to answer with the card slowly? Not sure. Well, I'll be back on tomorrow night at 11 Central Time. I'm I'm a boxer short and t-shirt type of guy. So my boxers have holes in them, and my quilt that I cover up with has it's not really a quilt. I guess it's a comforter, but my comforter has micro holes burnt in it as well. You're the cat lady. Well, Anna and I also have cats. I've got an orange tabby. His name is Ron. I called him Rhonda for like a half a year until I took him to the vet and got him his shots. And the vet informed me that he was a neutered male. Now I'm going to have to go, after this, I'm going to have to go outside and see where the neighbor cat took Ron's cat toy. There was another yellow cat, that a yellow tabby, that stole one of his toys and took it out. And I found it on the sidewalk the next morning, and it looks like he had drug it through the mud. It was so dirty. Yeah, they're clever little animals. Ron's been neutered, but he's got three other cats that come in through the front door. I don't use air conditioning that often, so I just leave the door open. I'm like Gladys Kravitz. I'm always listening for the neighbors, but they're smarter than me. They speak Spanish, so I don't know what they're saying. Abna, look what's going on at the Stevens residence. Um, Ron is training me. When he wants to go to bed, he'll poke his head around the corner and meow at me, and say, "Okay, turn the TV off and come to bed." And that's he gets his scratching and brushing when he's in the bed with me. Oh, that they do. Then he knows my schedule, and he's never so happy as when I go in to take a nap during the day, because he gets some daddy time. I have bad sleep hygiene. I worked the graveyard shift at one of my earlier jobs, and would stay up for hours on end, days on end. And the older I get, the less sleep I require, or the um, oh, no problem. We love liquors. Yeah, just pop in and say hi whenever. And if you do have um, a question that I can answer for you, just put it in capital letters in the chat, and I'll be glad to do a little 3-card mini reading for you. Sweet dreams, little Millie. Sweet dreams, Anna. And thank you for keeping me company tonight. Remember, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and go out and make it a great night. Bye, everyone.